like a spider web on me or something. Something. Welcome, I'm back with part 3 of Christmas in July. If you have not been following along this month so far, I'm coming up with 4 Christmas videos in July because it's hard to think about Christmas sewing when Christmas is coming at you like a freight train. So this year I'm getting an early start on my Christmas sewing and I'm having so much fun with it. So if you missed it, the first week I released this elf doll pattern, so cute. And I gave you tips in this video for how to sew small things. And in the second video, we talked about little gifts to sew, like just little something gift ideas, including these cute triangle pouches. And I announced a pattern sale in my shop. So you can get all patterns in the month of July with the code July, all the holiday patterns in my shop for 15% off. That includes the new elf doll, Christmas stockings, some ornament patterns I have in there and things like that. So you can hop over to my shop with the code July and get 15% off until this month is over. Just realized my mic is not actually hooked to my camera, it's just like hanging out. Sorry, Layla. Okay, there. Okay, so for today's video, I wanted to make a piece of Christmas decor because usually by the time I'm done sewing gifts and things, then I am out of time for the just fun home decor Christmas sewing ideas that I've had. So it's gonna be so much fun for me to pull out a new Christmas table runner in December when I'm decorating for Christmas that I've never gotten to use before. So that's what I'm making today. I am Nikki, this is Pin Cut Sew. I'm so glad you're here. And today we're going to make a simple, improv-ish Christmas table runner. You actually can make this non-Christmassy too if you want. It's a very basic design. So here's what I'm working with. Last summer or in the spring, last fall, I don't know, I posted a video about how I ordered scrap bags from several different places, and my favorite thing to order scrap bags from is the Ruby Star scrap bags on Amazon. I believe they also have these on Fat Quarter Shop or somewhere else. But I buy them on Amazon because sometimes they go on sale. And it's always a surprise line of really nice Ruby Star fabric. And this one was a Christmas line by Melody Miller called, oh, this one's Kimberly Knight. Jolly Darlings. Sarah Watts. I don't know who the designer is. But the line of fabric is called Jolly Darlings. And some of them are deer, they're pink, yellow, red. Some of them are little ornaments. And so I saved this and then I didn't have time to use it last Christmas. So I'm gonna use it now. You can use any assortment of fabric that you have. And I'm going to be making, this is a Gwen Marston book, my quilt hero. And she has this improv rectangle, kind of like a bow tie quilt in here. So this is what I'm gonna use as my inspiration. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, surprisingly, I actually drew out a plan. If you know me, you know this is really not very like me at all. I'm more of a wing it type of person. But this is what I want to use for my little corner pieces, the red in this picture. And I don't have very much of it. I have a fat quarter, but it kind of goes with all of the fabrics and it stands out enough. So I'm going to try to make it work with just this. And so I needed to make sure I didn't make too many or mess up or anything. So I made a plan. And so what I'm working with, I chose 9 of these Jolly Darlings fabrics that I liked. And I'm going to cut these into rectangles that are 4.5 by 6.5. I'm going to cut 3 to 4 of each print. I don't need 4 of every print. I'll only need 4 of a few of them. So first I'm going to cut the selvage off. Then I'm going to cut a 4.5 length this way. I'm going to cut this into 6.5 inch pieces. So I chose 9 fabrics to work with. You can choose any number of fabrics to work with, and you can make your table runner any size you want, of course. I am going to make mine, oh, I didn't write down the final measurement, but I am making 28 of these units, 4.5 by 6.5. My table is long with the leaves in it, but it's not super wide. And so I just sort of measured how big I wanted it to be on my table. And then if my finished blocks are 4 by 6, I kind of went from there. How many of those blocks will fit inside my finished size measurement? So here's my first fabric. I'm gonna do the same with the rest of these that I chose. Okay, I have chosen 28 rectangles, which was actually only 3 of each fabric. I don't know. You know me in quilt math. So now I have chosen this to be the triangles on all of my rectangles. Do you see this basic block is right here? And so each rectangle is going to get an improv triangle corner. So what I need to do is cut this piece of fabric into strips. I am relatively sure I'm going to have enough of this. This is actually the same, famous last words, right? This is the same fabric, the same method of sewing triangles onto squares or rectangles that I used to make that mid-century quilt in my living room. And what I did was just cut various widths of this fabric, and then I'm going to very easily stitch them onto my rectangles in a really simple way. So I'm going to show you that. Let me cut this all into strips first. If I end up running out of this, it's okay, because part of the fun and beauty of improv quilting is when things like that happen, you get to find solutions. Okay, so I'm going to take these strips over to my machine, and I'm going to stitch these rectangles onto them this way. Nope. Wait. No, this way. This way. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if I stitch these on in this direction, this piece that's left off of the strip is the part that's going to open up like this. And so you'll have this corner now. So you need to make sure you're not moving it over too much to where the strip is not going to cover this amount of the corner. So in my case, I want the corners to be relatively small, to just cover like the top of the rectangle. So I don't need to move it over all the way over here. And depending on the strip size, you can angle it whatever way you want to so that they're all a little bit different. So let me take you to the machine and show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so I have my pile of rectangles to the side. I'm just going to start. I'm going to stay. You can kind of feel where the edge of this fabric is, even though you can't see it. So I'm going to stitch on a 1/4 inch edge of that fabric. And then I'm going to put my next one on, remembering to make them all a tiny bit different. I am not going for uniformity. Put my next one here. I have room for one more. With a bigger piece of fabric than the fat 1/4 that I had, you'll be able to fit more on here, but I am working with a fat 1/4 only. So my strips are kind of short. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. A little weird, right? Okay, but now I can press. I'm going to press it so that my rectangle is flat. I'm going to press the blue fabric out where it belongs. I am not folding this so that this corner is under here. I'm going to keep this corner intact. And so all along the strip. Press all along the strip. And now I'm left with this on the other side. And now all I need to do, I'm going to get my little corner ruler. I'm going to cut off this. I am going to keep these pieces because those can be used for more corners. Not with the strip method, of course, but I don't think I will have enough strips to do all of these blocks, and I want to reduce waste, so I'm going to use these. See how these are now perfect corners. They will fit just fine on the rest of these corners. So these get to stay. Now these pieces all have nice and neat corners on them. So I'm going to do this to all 28 of my pieces, and then I'm going to flip them around and do the opposite corner. And for that, I'll probably use these leftover triangles. And so in that case, I'm just going to make sure I have enough to cover the corner. So I wouldn't want to put it way up here because when you flip it, see, this will be bare and you don't want that. So you want to kind of overlap the edges enough so that you know it's going to cover and you can trim it after that. So if this strip method seems a little bit abstract to you, or if you're using scraps, then you can of course just cut triangles and sew them on each corner like this. So I'm going to do this to all 28 of my squares. Okay, I just learned that you need to make sure, and I tried to make sure as I was going, I was putting the same corner in, so it should have been this corner, and on this one I put the wrong corner facing the strip, so I'm going to unsew this one. So as you're sewing these onto the strips, make sure they're all facing in the same direction. If you feed one in this way and the next one in this way, they're going to turn out on the wrong corner. So just an FYI, learn from my mistake. Okay, I have the first corner on all of these squares. This has not taken me very long at all. I do have one strip left to do the opposite corners, but for the rest of them, I'm going to be using these scraps. I need only make sure that they cover the entire corner as I'm sewing, but if they don't, I can always unsew. So here I go. Alright, I finished my 28 rectangles, at least I hope there's 28. Knowing me, I'll be like one short. But shameless plug first, before I move on, I want to tell you I still have several of these Make It Wonky books left. I've had to reorder it actually, because it has sold really well, so thanks y'all for that. But if you want more improv block ideas, then this would be a great place to start. Patternless projects, and then ideas for putting them together into various quilt designs. So go hop over and get this from my shop. I'll put a link to it in the description, of course. So what I have left to do is to lay out my blocks in a grid. Let's see, let's refer back to my my drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 by 7. So I'm just going to lay these out. I might have to move my elf dolls. Move over, little guys. All right, so that's next. This is the fun part. All right, the next step is obvious. It is just sewing them together in the layout that I had laid out. So I'm going to go sew these into their rectangle, and then I will be back to finish. I finished the top. I think it looks really cute. I really like how these fabrics look together. I think they're sort of non-traditional Christmas fabrics, which I love when I decorate for Christmas. And I have to say, I'm really enjoying thinking about Christmas sewing in the summer, because it is so much fun to get my Christmas fabrics out and play with them. But you know, the actual season is, I think the stress that's naturally involved with Christmas time sort of just drains a tiny bit of the fun out of the Christmas sewing. So thinking about it in the summer is just really surprisingly fun, and I think I will keep this tradition going, hopefully, in the next few years. So I am mostly excited to put this away so that in 5 months, I can get it out and remember how cute it is and have this brand new piece of Christmas decor. So I'm gonna finish this up and then I will show it to you in the end. Oh, I should add, if you need finishing tutorials for the quilt sandwich, the quilting and the binding, I will link to the quilting playlist and you can find all of those in recent videos. I did the quilt sandwich, I did hand quilting, I did machine quilting, and binding tutorial. So go check those out if you need help. This is a great way to learn to quilt because it's small.